Do you ever feel like you could use a little direction in life? If so, listen to this. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Inspiring Hope. This is your weekly boost of uplifting Jewish inspiration. I'm Rabbi Tzvi Sytner, and on behalf of thevillage1h.com, I want to thank everybody for listening. I also want to thank this week's sponsors. Today's talk is sponsored by Malcolm and Jody Silver in honor of the yahrzeit of Jody's mother, may her neshama have an aliyah, as well as by Sandy and Marcia Myers in honor of the yahrzeit of Marcia's parents, Eileen and Morris Eisenberg, may their neshamas have aliyahs as well. Lastly, by Etienne Shochet in honor of Rabbi and Rabbi Sytner and the amazing things they do for our community. Thank you all so much for your sponsorships. So, I woke up one morning just before Pesach, and when I got out of bed, I felt like the whole room was spinning. I closed my eyes, and after a few minutes, finally the room stopped spinning. But over the next few days, the dizziness got worse and worse. Now, if you've ever had vertigo before, you know exactly what I mean. You're standing on firm ground, but your body feels like you're spinning in circles. And people said to me, do this maneuver, try this headstand, take this medicine, but it wasn't going away. And it reminded me actually of a story, a vertigo story that I heard from Rabbi Pesach Krohn. He tells this story of a fighter pilot in the Israeli army named Kobe. Now, each night, Kobe would lead a squadron of fighter pilots out on a practice mission. They would fly in a V formation with two jets just behind Kobe, one on his right, one on his left. And every night after they completed their mission, Kobe would quickly pull up on his F-16, and he would bring him upwards, and he would fly back to the base, and the others would follow behind him. Now, one night, as they were flying hundreds of miles per hour in the dark skies, Kobe suddenly developed vertigo, and he became disoriented. Now, without realizing it, he flipped his plane upside down. And as always, he pulled back on the controls to pull his plane up. But instead of going up, Kobe's plane was actually going down to the ground. And the planes behind him were radioing. They said, Kobe, change direction. You're diving to the ground. Quickly, pull up. You're going to crash. And he quickly looked at the barometer and he was shocked when it showed him that his plane was actually losing altitude. But it couldn't be. He looked at the backup instruments and they also showed that he was losing ground. But because he was so confused from the vertigo, his mind just refused to accept the information on the controls. His instrument said that he was flying upside down, but his mind said that he was flying right side up. Kobe faced the toughest dilemma of his life. And he only had seconds to make a decision. Who should he trust? He pushed his controls forward, convinced that he was committing suicide by bringing his plane right into the ground. But instead, he pulled safely out of the dive, and he survived. You know, physical vertigo is when your brain doesn't process what your eyes see, and you get disoriented. But on some level, I think there's also spiritual vertigo. When we feel emotionally and spiritually confused and we lose our sense of direction or meaning in life. So how do we reorient ourselves so that we're not flying upside down in life? I think like Kobe, pilots and navigators know that however lost or disoriented they may be, they could always trust their wingmen. And that's exactly what we can do. When we're confused and we're having real doubts as to whether the path we're taking or decisions we're making are correct, that's when we can turn to our wingman, a rabbi, a rebbitzin, or a good friend to guide us and to tell us that our position is wrong and that we need to pull up. You know, in Ethics of the Fathers, our rabbis teach us, Aseh lecha rav uknei lecha chaver. Make for yourself a rabbi and acquire for yourself a good friend. But a mentor or a good friend isn't just someone who always supports your decisions. It's someone who loves you enough to tell you honestly when you're flying upside down. We all need wingmen to keep us in check in life. So reach out to a rabbi or a friend or a rebbitzin and make sure to be a good one for someone else. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to sponsor the next episode or send me a message, just email me at hope@h.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.